Hello friends, Tony Ackerman here. Today we're going to zoom in on this great instrument, the Martin D28, the king of American guitars. In the 200-year history of guitar making, there's just a handful of designs that changed the future, not just for the instruments themselves, but also for the music. In the 19th century, we have the Spanish Torres, which created the shape of what we know as the classical guitar. In the 1920s, the Gibson L5 created the archtop guitar from which the electric came. And then, for solid bodies, it was, I would say, the Fender Stratocaster, legendary Fender Stratocaster in the 1950s. And for flat top acoustics, the Martin D28. You see, following the Great Depression, there was a big boom in country music due to the growing technologies of radio and recordings. Players needed a louder sound, especially in the lower registers, to compete with the banjos and fiddles that made more noise. The D28 revolutionized guitar design. Note the body shape, larger and squarer than the curvier models. They also found a way to reinforce the neck to allow thicker strings and prevent warping. So the D stands for dreadnought, fear nothing, a type of British battleship that had steel sides and big guns. Very appropriate. Did you know that every guitar has a soul? It's that inner essence which comes into the world as soon as the maker puts on the strings and tunes it for the first time. I like to call us players not guitar owners, but guitar caretakers. So as we guitar caretakers play, over time, the structures of the wood of the specific instrument actually change according to the frequencies and vibrations we use most. So this is not mystic mumbo-jumbo. It's physics. But for the D28, the soul goes even deeper than me or previous caretakers. Every time I take the D28 into my lap, I feel part of the flowering of country music in American life in the 1930s, and even more part of the urban folk revival in the 1960s, which I witnessed up close. I also feel a kinship with the bluegrass guitar legends who played the D28, like Doc Watson and Tony Rice. You know what I remember most about my first D28 when we brought it back from the store in 1963? The smell. Part lacquer, part rosewood. That first D28 was stolen, along with all my other instruments, including a lovely vintage Gibson mandolin in 1969. I would say tragically, but this event led me to a positive development in my musical life. I decided to focus everything on the nylon string guitar, and I found my way back to Rome to my great classical teacher. And when I returned to the United States in 1977, my sister, who had bought this 1969 model at a pawn shop, lent it to me for life. What a beautiful act. So you see, I'm truly not the owner of this D28, just the loving caretaker. Of course, the way a soul of a guitar is most strongly revealed is the sound, yeah? I'm going to play a short melodic fragment on the Martin D28, then the same fragment on another of my great guitars, the Loudon F32C. And you listen. Listen for the difference. See if you can describe it for yourself. Let's try it again. Of course, it's hard to find words to describe tone color. I might say that the Martin is more compact, more incisive, lean and mean than the Loudon, which we might describe as rounder, even sweeter. With great guitars, it's not a question of better or worse. Just like with your good friends, it's a question of different. Now, the Martin is known, of course, for its low registers. That's what it was made for in the 30s. Really strong. But it also has a beautiful, sweet tone in the upper registers. And of course, even the middle is maybe what I like the most. Another feature of great acoustics is what I like to call their natural reverb. When you play notes on the fretted strings, listen to how the other open strings keep echoing, as if they want to support what you're doing in the melody. I play a lot in drop D because I love the sound it gives to the whole instrument, not just to the low notes. Natural reverb. Now let's talk about how it feels. Here we get to some trade-offs that I had to make to get this power and volume of the D28. The narrow neck and the smaller distance between the strings are not great for fingerstyle. Also, the less curvy shape makes it so the D28 doesn't settle as comfortably into the lap. The right shoulder sometimes feels raised a little too much. And I've noticed that most D28 players play standing up. The action takes more strength to get a clear sound, especially since D28s sound better with medium gauge strings. I use 013 to 055. Of course, there are other Martin models, like the O and the double O and even the triple O, that have a totally different feel and touch. And even the D18, the D28's slightly poorer brother, is easier to play. So we've talked about how the D28 sounds, how it feels, even how it smells. Now, what about the looks? This is a really important part of the soul of a guitar, and don't be ashamed if you care about how your guitar looks. One reason I call the D28 the king of guitars is that it looks masculine. It radiates power, confidence. It's a no-nonsense guitar. But it's a wise king. There's a gentleness in the slightly curved shape of the neck, the shine of the strings and frets. Let's look up close. In the background, you'll hear a piece of mine called Thank You Blues. This was a totally free improvisation I recorded a few years ago as a hymn to the blues. To be truthful, the D28 is not my favorite guitar for exploring new ground. For me, the prize for inspiring new sonorities, especially in fingerpicking, goes to my Loudon. The Loudon is a prime example of the flourishing of the acoustic guitar making craft that took off in the 1970s after the urban folk revival and is continuing on up to today. But the D28 is such a great mirror of all the great past American music. As I said before, it was made to accentuate the lower notes to get more volume, but listen to the combination of strength and gentleness in this Appalachian song called The Cuckoo. No other guitar sounds just like that. Now it's Capo time. I'm going to show you my collection. I'm going to start with the oldest one, the elastic capo that I have as a memento from the 1980s. Another ancient history is this capo that I use for the nylon string guitar. It's made out of all leather and wood. Got it in Barcelona. The G7. It's a really good capo for the Loudon, and you can vary the pressure and it doesn't put the strings out of tune. For the longest time, my favorite was this one, the Shug capo. And a great advantage of the sub capo is that you can put it on very quickly and take it off quickly if you want to do that trick like Tommy Emmanuel does of throwing the capo off in the middle of a song. But my present favorite, my darling capo, is this D'Addario capo. Of all the capos I've ever had, this puts the strings out of tune the least and is very easy to manage. So I want to show you how using a capo does even more than change the key of a song. It actually changes the whole tone color of the guitar. So I'll play a few measures of Home Sweet Home in open position, no capo. Now let's listen with the capo. On the second fret, same positions, It's almost like a whole new guitar. And you 60s folks, I'm going to put the capo way up on the 7th fret and finger pick a little bit of the opening riff to a song. See if you can recognize it. Name that tune. If you guessed Scarborough Fair, you were right. So now I'm going to bring up a delicate issue. Or maybe it's not so delicate. Finger picks. These finger picks are maybe a leftover from my banjo days, and I use a thumb pick, a plastic thumb pick, and 3 metal finger picks on 3 fingers. So, what I don't like about it is that the sound is metallic and not very exact. It's a little rough. But what I like about it is that it lets me dig in and somehow get funkier. And I think the Martin is okay with that. Let's try 9-pound hammer. This 9-pound hammer, it's a little heavy. Big for my size, big for my size. So wrong, buddy, don't you roll so slow. How can I roll when we won't go? Here's a little advice for guitar buyers. I will be posting another video just on that subject fairly soon. First, if you're a beginner and wondering which guitar to buy, I would not recommend choosing the Dreadnought model. There are lots of good Dreadnoughts that are way cheaper than a D28, which can cost over $3,000 new. But the body shape is a little awkward to hold on your lap, and the action is on the hard side. For those reasons, I certainly wouldn't advise the D28 for a small person, and definitely not for a child. The second point is about choosing a guitar in general. Don't choose your guitar by the make or model number. Remember what we said about each guitar having a soul? Well, every single D28 is different, and you need to see how the individual guitar sounds, feels, and looks. That's why I recommend going to a brick and mortar store and trying several, comparing them. Who knows? You might fall in love with a different model. So as we wind up this session, it may have become obvious why I have shunned electric guitars for almost my whole life. I guess electric guitars have souls too, but when they have to sing through cables and effect boxes and foot pedals and amplifiers and they're not vibrating right here at the heart, well, we'll leave this debate for another episode. More videos about each of my guitars are on the way, so you might like to hit that subscribe button. I'll close with a piece that I've played on both my D28s for almost 60 years. It's by Elizabeth Cotten. Oh, babe, it ain't no lie. Be well, my friends.